All rise.
CBS 11 News, one after another for the first time in a courtroom. Here they are, all of them together. The three men charged in the disappearance of Crystal Rogers, one of the biggest of the Bardstown mysteries, now with a trial date set by the judge. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us today at 4 o'clock. I'm Doug Proffitt. We have WHAS 11 crews in Nelson County today covering it all for you. Here's some of the top headlines from the courtroom today. The judge setting the date for the trial for 1 year from now, February 10th, 2025. The prosecutor wants all three men to be tried together. There was also a request today to lower the bond of the first man arrested in this case, Joseph Lawson. WHAS 11 Shay McAllister was in the courtroom when the three men appeared. And Shay, it was quite the scene when they rounded the corner there, all three of them. What was the reaction in the courtroom? Was there any at all when the crowd got a look at them?
Well, Doug, it certainly was a packed courtroom. We had family from Brooks Houck filling multiple rows on one side, family from Crystal Rogers taking up multiple rows on the other. And ultimately, this was an incredibly quick hearing, but it was very telling. If the Commonwealth has it their way, there will be a trial for all three men, one trial early next year. Well, these men did come into the courtroom one by one today. First, Joseph Lawson wheeled into the courtroom, followed by his father, Steve Lawson, and then Crystal Rogers' former boyfriend, Brooks Houck. We weren't expecting them to all be in the hearing together, but that certainly could be a sign of what's to come. The prosecutor noted today he intends to try all three men in one trial, a trial that will likely be moved out of Nelson County. The only business outside of the trial date discussed today was the bond for Joseph Lawson. His attorneys want it lowered from $500,000 to $50,000. They say he isn't a danger, but the Commonwealth disagrees, pointing to the actions after he learned he was under investigation.
He also is a risk once he found out that he was a subject, a target of what happened to this young woman. He called around or texted around to associates, to friends of his, to cover for him, to give him an alibi that night of July the 3rd when she's missing.
Well, ultimately, the judge said he's going to take all of that into consideration. He did not rule on that bond today. We expect to have a ruling on the bond by the end of the day on Monday. Today was the first time all three of these men have been at the same place at the same time since the arrest. Notably, Joseph and Steve, father and son, walking right side by side as they were coming in and out. We asked the attorneys, did they speak to one another today? The attorney for Steve Lawson told us no words were exchanged. Well, the next court date here, March 21st, is expected to be a status hearing, Doug. Just an update on the evidence, which in this case is a lot.
Well, Shay, of course, so much more other cases to the Bardstown mysteries. What about those other cases? The Bardstown police officer Jason Ellis and Crystal's father, Tommy Ballard, were they mentioned in the courtroom today?
They were mentioned, both of them, but only once, and that was when the Commonwealth was talking about all of that evidence. He said that when he got the case, it took him 6 months to review all of the evidence, but that included Jason Ellis and Tommy Ballard. Very interesting that he would receive a one case file for all three people, Crystal, Tommy, and Jason. There was no follow-up to that. That was all that was said, Doug.
Okay, Shay, we'll be joining you again throughout our newscast talking about the developments in the courtroom today, again coming up at 5 and 6. Thank you. And our coverage of today's big court appearance continues at 5:30 when former prosecutor and now Louisville defense attorney Nick Mudd will join me for a live interview to talk about the case. Mudd was in Bardstown today for another case, but he also follows the Crystal Rogers case closely. He'll tell us if it's realistic for the trial to really be held in 1 year. Again, the trial date is set. The big headline today, February 10th, 2025, nearly 1 year from today. And our digital team also today provided live, minute-by-minute, real-time coverage of the court hearing this afternoon. WHAS11.com journalist Joseph Garcia was there, and you can follow his information at WHAS11.com.